What is going on, guys and girls? Level Up here at OnPointTactical. This is a very special video that was requested through private message and could potentially turn into a video series as well, but I don't want it to feel like I'm trying to copy other YouTubers, namely LevelCap in this particular instance. Now, the subject matter at hand comes through in the form of a private message as mentioned before. The private message reads, "Hey OnPointTactical, I just went and saw Lone Survivor. I was wondering if you could use the same weapons/equipment as they did in the film and show us how well they perform in Battlefield 4. Good luck." Well, in the film, if you have seen it, if you haven't seen it rather, I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you have seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about whenever I say that a couple of the soldiers or SEALs in the movie actually share magazines, and one of them has a 5.56 M4, and apparently the other one also has a 5.56 M4. Now, in the actual operation, Mark Wahlberg's character was using an SR-25, or more commonly known as the MK11 Mod 0, which is a 7.62 rifle, so that's one goof that was in the film that was not in the actual operation, but other than that, we shouldn't have to worry about it too much. So of course, that means I'm stuck using a designated marksman rifle, which automatically means that this is up for a revisit as DICE is looking at updating the DMRs entirely. Now, entirely meaning that they're probably just going to change their damage model or their accuracy, or just something to give them a slight edge, maybe not necessarily a huge edge, because we don't want them to be overpowered by any means, but I certainly feel like they are in for an update. Now, Mark Wahlberg's character that actually uses the Mark II Mod 0 has a 8-time rifle scope. Well, we can't actually equip rifle scopes on DMRs in Battlefield 4, so I went with the next best thing, which was an ACOG, which a couple of the other SEALs were actually using in the film. A vertical foregrip in the film was a Knight's Armament style vertical grip. We only have a regular vertical grip, just a steel vertical grip, or the ergo grip. The ergo grip is a little bit more closely comparable to the Knight's Armament foregrip. Almost all of them, except for one SEAL, had a suppressor on their rifles, and Mark Wahlberg's character, who was using the Mark II MK11, either way, had a PEC-2 or PEC-1, I believe, laser. He never used it throughout the entire film, but it was on the rifle, so I threw it on there just for a little bit of an aesthetic difference. Now, if you're wondering why the devs are working on patching or updating the DMRs, let's go ahead and look at the Mark II's current stats. 260 rounds per minute with a damage model of 43 maximum and 30 minimum. That means that you are in the 4 shots to the chest to kill if you are in anything over about 50 or so meters. Actually, that would be 80 meters where it's hit 30, so past 60 meters, you're stuck with a 4-shot kill to the chest. And even in close quarters, you're going to need 3 shots to the chest. This is both annoying and, quite frankly, just makes the DMRs quite crappy. Now, if they were to update them to Battlefield 3 levels of damage, it would be 2 shots to the chest in close quarters, and 1 shot to the dome piece in close quarters to drop a person, 2 shots to the face, or 3 shots at long range to drop a person if you hit him in the chest, 2 shots if you hit him in the face area. Now, the reload times of the Mark II do not need to be altered. This is not what we're talking about, because 1.85 seconds on a short reload is incredibly fast for a DMR, or for any weapon, in Battlefield 4, really. The recoil pattern is a little bit odd. At negative 0.3 pull left, 0.5 pull up, and 0.6 pull right. So it pulls up and right in almost a nearly diagonal, kind of favoring to the right attribute, but because it is one shot after the other, you don't really have to worry about that too much. Now, what you do have to worry about is that first shot recoil multiplier of 2 times, and you're actually going to be fighting that every time that you pull the trigger, because there is no continuous fire. So that means you're actually going to have 1.0 pull up and 1.2 pull to the right every shot, unless you're running the angled grip or something else to help with recoil. The ADS accuracy while standing is 0.05. Not great, but again, it can't really compare to a bolt action with the DMR. So it really isn't that bad because an assault rifle's damage is, or spread rather, while standing is 0.2, and you don't really have to worry about a spread increase per round ratio because it is, again, single fire. But it's just something to keep in mind that it is not quite as accurate as a bolt action, but, you know, in due time, then you'll pretty much just get used to it. The muzzle velocity is 550 meters a second. Suppressed comes in at around 320-ish meters per second. And overall, I think it's harder to lead targets, but again, if you invested a bunch of time to it and really learned the bullet travel and the bullet speed and bullet drop ratio, I don't really think that you would have too awful much to worry about. Now, that's pretty much the only thing that is wrong with the Mark II. I love how it looks, I love how it feels, I love how rewarding it is to kill a person with it. But quite frankly, it just cannot stand up to pretty much anything right now as far as damage per second. Now I can hear one of you, at least one of you, yelling at me, just play hardcore. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait until they update the guns later this month, and then I will do a review with this setup in normal mode and in hardcore mode and tell you how it compares to what it is now. That's pretty much all that I have for you guys today as far as replicating the aesthetics of the movie gun. That was kind of cool, but other than that, there wasn't really much effectiveness to this weapon, so I'd say that at the end of the day, don't do this yet. Replicate some other movie loadout until we get the DMR update. So that's it for me, guys. I'm LevelUp here at OnPointTactical. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys on the battlefield.